Hey, I like that theme song. The intro. I'm over here dancing. It's like, hey.
I know I'm gonna start strolling, putting those shoulders on us.
Oh,
Cause your brothers and my swords, they argue about the shimmy now.
no, ain't no argument. Shimmy, get down how you get down.
Oh,
That's what I love about. I
it's
love
officially
about New Greek.
November. You know
Hmm?
that, right? It's
Say what now?
November.
Is Royal Member?
It's November.
Oh, let's go.
Oh my gosh. Hey everybody, what's up? What's going on? This is Camille Essick, host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. We're gonna have a really interesting conversation tonight. So I need you to hit that notification bell and subscribe. If you have not shared, please do so already. I'm actually tagging someone myself right now. And feel free to tag your friends and family for this conversation as we hop right in. Before we jump things off, I want to let you all know that the Speaker Podcast Premium, TSP Premium, is now available for a limited time starting at $3 a month. And that way you can get the exclusive episodes and interviews in addition to all the other interviews starting at $3 a month that's available right now. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essick and on YouTube at Camille Essick Official. And the Speaker Podcast, we got picked up by Audible, and we're also now picked up by Alexa, tune in Alexa. So go ahead and grab that right now.
So I say,
And
Alexa, play Camille.
exactly, that's what you can do. You're absolutely right. So I need you to like, comment, and share. So this individual, it's going to be pure comedy. Hey, Angela. Hey, Auntie Angela.
These are
Please share.
just jokes, but I'm serious at the same time. Hey,
We
Angela.
it.
Hey, Angela. What is this on? So I can tell people. This is on Facebook.
Facebook, YouTube. Yes, like, comment, and share. For those that are not familiar with you, Dr. Sheldon, please let the people know who you are and a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be back with my sister while it is November, and I know they're about to be all the way turned up. So, I'm Dr. Sheldon McAfee, a happily retired, happily divorced educator, author, children's book professor, consultant, HBCU enthusiast, creator. And I love this opportunity, this space to just kick it with y'all. So, I'm glad to be back.
Absolutely love it. So, you all, I need you to share. Share, 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 share. This is going to be really good. So, as you all know, out here in social media land, it seems like
We got
the
this.
last week, this foolishness. So, let's give the backstory before we dig into this conversation. So, this lady, this woman, she goes on a date with a man. She makes him wait over an hour. So, he had um he had reservations for them, and because she made them so late, as a backup, they ended up at the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, I didn't know you had a backup plan.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
so
really better than me.
and I guess the restaurant was close to where they were, so they were like, okay, well, we'll go to Cheesecake Factory. So hence, she makes this video about her not going to Cheesecake Factory, and of course this thing goes viral on social media.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, someone's making this list, and it even made it on the news in several stations, about places where not to go on the first date, and slew of restaurants or whatever. And so Dr. Sheldon, he made a very mature post, and it was a different type of list. So Dr. Sheldon, I want you to kind of share that list, and I would like for you to break down those points. And
Sure.
while he's doing that, I need y'all to like, comment, and share.
Yes. Please like, comment, and share. Absolutely. So the list came up. These lists that nobody asked for just popped up out of the blue. And so the list started with, list of places you're not going to go on first date, which I think is ridiculous. Like, and the list was all practical places, but like bowling. Bowling's a great first date. But anyway, then as a retort or I guess a comeback, some men put together a list of women they wouldn't date, and the list was hurtful, right? Because one of them said like African American women, and I thought to myself, geez, like we can't, we're doing the disservice to these lists. I mean, these lists are coming out of nowhere that no one's asking for, and then they're hurtful. And so I was
Mhm.
sitting in my car and I was thinking, I'm by no means that type of doctor. I'm a doctor of education and leadership. My connection has been with human beings, but I've broken enough hearts and had my heart broken enough times to know that there are some practical things. Yeah, these lists are just random. You're right, sister. Just come out of nowhere. So my list is just as random, and it can't. And nobody asked me to make it, and y'all welcome. So here are some of the things that I think should be on our list, right? So like I said, I'm happily divorced, and so I'm learning to date all over again. And after I saw this list, because I must say I was uh, cringing at having to be out there on the dating scene. Like it does hurt when you always have to plan things, and you're the only one who's picking up the tab, or you're the only person who's putting in for the transportation. And if you're doing it all the time, it doesn't feel like a date. To me, it feels like a field trip. If I got to do all this planning, like some spontaneity would be nice, or just some getting to know you would be nice. Like it shouldn't be all about the budget or the location. So I put together a list. Go ahead.
And I want to interject before you hop into that. And this is my thing with that situation. Just as becoming older and wiser, me personally, when first meeting a guy, I don't want to do date things, meaning I don't want to do dinner. I mean, we can do it like dinner or like brunch, but movies and all that only because I need to know if you're even worth getting to that point. Meaning the first 2 or 3 times, this is just me. Y'all don't come for me in the comments. This is my preference.
Yeah.
I would prefer if we just go to Starbucks a couple times and have a cup of coffee or like a dessert bar or something and talk. Because for me personally, you can gauge some things just out of those conversations, like an hour or two having coffee. And out of those conversations, you can say, okay, well, yeah, we can do dinner next time or whatever. Because I'm like, why waste all the time of getting ready, getting dressed,
Time,
spending money on
money,
food,
energy,
gas,
effort.
and you have this dinner and the whole thing is deflated. So for me personally, before we do dinner and get to that point and start really investing time and money, let's scale it back. And also, I don't like a lot of auto sensory um interference in an environment when I'm first meeting you, because I feel like going to the movies is a cop out because you don't have to talk. You're watching the movie, and then when it's over, oh yeah, it was a great movie, but I know nothing about you as a person. I feel like the less distractions, the better, because that's a time to read personality. That's a good time to
Mhm.
read body language, voice inflection, eye contact, little things like they're always in your phone. And I feel like this
Yeah,
is just
the
me.
movies is a great first date for like a teenager.
Yeah, so I just feel like, and it's very effortless.
Yeah,
So I just feel that for me personally, the first couple times, let's go sit somewhere and talk and have a coffee and just have some conversation and see if there's even enough chemistry to get to dinner.
yeah,
Because if there is, then yes, let's progress this to dinner and then more
yeah.
conversation. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, and that definitely falls into my list. So here's my list in just a random order, but I'll give you my background and interject and I'll entertain any comments that pop up too. So I call it the starter dating to do list. Like if you're gonna start dating and you're an adult and you're serious about dating, these are some things I think you should do. Right. So number one, I say wear their favorite color. Right. When people see you in your favorite color, it brightens their day. Like when I see a person I'm dating in blue, my eyes light up, right? It makes me excited to see them and gives me a warm feeling when I see them. So put that in your back pocket when you want to date somebody. Learn their favorite color, wear it as often as you can. See if you can brighten up their day just by looking at you, right? Number two, and this is for not people who are struggling financially, because this is how I feel about spending money on a date. It's an investment. If I'm paying for dinner, paying for movie concert tickets, I'm investing my time and energy into you. So that makes me feel like I want to be with you. I want to uh, be around you. But if I don't know you and I'm just getting to know you, I say this is just for me. I say go Dutch until y'all serious. Like pick up the tab on each person's part because you want to be there to show that person you're interested. But if I take over and pay, it's because I'm investing in you. I'm building you up. Like I'm taking this off your burden so that like what it might not even be a burden. Like $20 for a meal might not be a burden to you, but this is how I'm thinking about it. I'm taking that off of you so that you can go forward, go get your nails done, go move in a different direction because that's what I feel like is my partner. But
mhm.
if you're not partners yet and you're just seeing if you like each other, it's nothing inappropriate about paying for your half of the meal.
Doesn't that also remove expectation? Because I've listened to a lot of conversation online. The podcaster and me, I just listen to conversation because there are a lot of guys out here that feel like, well, if I pay for dinner at the end of the night,
if I buy the drinks, if I pay for the ticket, I'm going back to
yeah,
your
it's almost like a quid pro quo, and
place.
I think that kind of removes some expectation on some things. So I can definitely understand your point on that.
Yeah,
But at some point, even in that space, maybe you take turns. Like, well, this time I have it, next time you get it. You know, and
but
do
at
so
least
where
have
it's
that
equitable.
worked out. Have that worked out. But like, if you're not going to be serious in the back, let's say if you, because I don't know how people are, but let's say if the back and forth thing worked, but then let's say we don't work out and the last person to pay was me, right? Is this person going to be bitter? Just for me,
just suggestion, and then even if it doesn't work out, I mean, okay, you pay for a meal, but at least you don't end up 4 years in a relationship and a kid, so
yeah.
I think you have to look at
Hey,
the trade-off.
right. I hear you. All right. Number 3, discuss values, faith, and morals. And I want to break down what I mean by each one of them. So your values are things that you hold with worth, right? Like something that I'm going to go out here and espouse, right? I'm going to believe in my heart that Jesus Christ is Lord and God raised him from there. That's my value. And so when I go in the world, I want to be a Christian. I want people to see me helping people, being kind to one another, bringing light into the world. And if I'm with someone and they love gossip and they think gossiping is fun and they want to talk about it, that's not a value that I would hold true, right? And let me know, like, maybe that's your thing to do. Yeah, I like spilling the tea. All right, girl. Well, are we talking about like funny stuff? Or are we talking about like people's serious business, right? And then your faith. What do you believe in? What do you think is going to be the way you want to raise your children? How often will you worship? Is that something that's a deal breaker? Do you just believe and that's enough, or are you a devout, like I got to go and participate? And then your morals, like where is your stopping point? What is the line in the sand, right? What are you going to say? I'm absolutely not going to do that. And if you don't have these conversations, you might be with somebody who's a thief, who's a liar, who's a crook, who's a cheat, and you never knew about it because you never took the time to say something as simple as, man, I really like to have kids, right? That's a value. I believe in family and I want to carry children on to the next generation and see my family name flourish. And if you never had that conversation with somebody who's like, wait a minute now, I'm done with kids. I was taking care of kids when I was little and I don't want to be bothered that when I get older. That's values. Those are conversations we got to have before we start going down a long road. To even 3 months is a long road to be with somebody if y'all don't know that y'all gonna have a future together.
Yeah, so that's good. I do want to say on the whole spiritual thing, you have to be very specific because we're in a time now. If you're not specific on that, spiritual can mean different things to different people. Like for me, if you say spiritual, I am thinking like Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. But for the next person, spiritual for them could be Ouija boards, crystals, and sage, which is a no-go for me.
Right.
But if you are doing libations to the ancestors and all this, I'm like, huh? So you have to really be specific on what you mean by spiritual.
Yeah.
Are you a tither? Like we need to have some definitions out here laid out for real.
Yeah, talk about where you plan on being in a long-term relationship. Yes. Like, what do you see yourself down the road? Those things that you hold true, like all those things matter when you're thinking about long-term relationship. Like, do you believe in corporal punishment? Do you believe in just talking to your kids? All these things got to come up. Like, if you don't have
this gentle parenting, I'm like, you about to get this tough love, or you don't sit down.
No,
I don't say it, but
depending on how you were raised, you might have a different mindset. Like my mother used to tell us all the time, I'm not one of your little friends, right?
Yeah.
I won't laugh and joke and play with you ever because I don't want you to ever say, oh, mama, I thought you was playing.
No.
Like, are you going to be a joking parent with your kid? Will you have the same response? And all these things, like I said, this is just Sheldon McAfee list, right? I said trial and error. I have broken hearts and had my heart broken. This is what I'm looking for if I'm looking. That's just if I'm looking. I'm just letting y'all know if I'm looking. Then number 4 is discuss sexual desires and expectations, right? Because if you're going out with somebody, you're probably looking for friction. You want
because I don't have a ring, but some
But
people
see, that's
are.
good. And see, discuss that. Having
Yeah.
someone to know that that's a no go for me. Let that person know, because what if somebody who comes into that mind frame thinking, "Oh, it's a modern era. We can
You
be
have
saved."
to,
Da,
because
da, da.
people are out here tying people up and
Oh, child.
wearing leather and role playing, and
I mean, some people
it's a
like
lot going on in these streets, and those conversations need to be had. Some people are bringing in a third and fourth party to the
that.
situation. So those conversations, they're real and they need to be had.
Yeah, and I almost kind of go back to your values too. Like, if we're going to be in a committed partnership, what does that look like? But that's something I think. I don't know if it's the old guard or the way our mindset of thinking, but we've had a traditional idea of what a relationship means. Like, it's two people, right? But we have so many different, identities and sexual preferences now. So now you got different couple situations. It's
That's what I'm
all
saying. You need
it
to
all
be
yeah, all needs to
specific.
be discussed at the
Yeah.
beginning, so you don't waste your time. And these are awkward conversations to have, but I think these 10 discussions on a date would make you realize, if I really want to be bothered with that person.
And not to be crude, but you may need to see the birth certificate and do a gender check, because that's a real thing too.
Yeah, ask questions. Don't
Ask
be assuming.
questions.
Number 5, and this is just me, and it's not. My daughter said, "Dad, that's just because you're cheap," and I'm not. I'm I'm not cheap, but this is for me. Gifts are off the table until you're serious, right?
I
And
like that.
here's my idea. If I know you, if I love you, if I like you, I want to go get something without having to say, I wonder what you like, or being a generic gift card and a blank card from Hallmark, right? If I know you, when it's time to get you a gift, I'm going to pay attention to the things you've said and done. And so when it's time for your birthday, Christmas, anniversary, special holiday, boss's day, right? You'll deliver. And I get a good example. I was dating someone, and I know I said out of my mouth, and this is just me because I'm a country boy. I have a couple of superstitions. One is I I don't like watches as a gift because I have a
Oh,
superstition.
yes. As a Southern girl, I totally
Yeah,
understand. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I have a superstition that if you give someone a watch as a gift, time will run out in your relationship.
Or
I don't.
shoes.
Or shoes that leave you. Right, right, right. And every person that I've dated that's given me a watch that I've been with has left me. And I know I say this up front. I don't want a watch as a gift, especially if I like them. But I guess they ain't like me. So
I don't. I mean, so I was told, don't. My grandmother always said, never give a man a watch, and then she said, never give a man a pair of shoes, because those will be the pair that he walks out of you in. And
a third of
again,
them.
growing up in the South, you hear these things, but they are just Southern things that you hear.
Like, don't sweep your dirt out your front door because
Don't
you
sweep
sweep
your
out.
feet. Just
Don't sweep your feet, but you don't sweep your dirt out the front door because you sweep out your good fortune. So if
and
you
then
sweep
she
up
was
your house,
like,
you put it in the dustpan and throw it away. I don't
yeah,
know why.
she
He's
was like, if you drop a wet wash rag, that meant something. Left.
I don't know. I just know when my right hand is itching, that means money coming. Let's just no, but the gift thing, to me, it's an investment again. Like, I'm taking my time and putting energy into finding the right gift for you based off our connection. And so if I don't have a connection, how am I supposed to get you a gift? I know we just met last week and your birthday is in 10 days. And maybe I'll come to the party if you have one, if we're that
That's
serious.
sweet. Yeah,
But
I have to put the brakes on my giving, because I'm the type of person, if I like you, I love to give, and I like to show you that I like you. And so I've had to learn, you can't do that. Like, I had Camille like pull back, because I know if I like you and if I'm into you, I'm just open. And so I've had to learn to really guard my heart and to kind of breadcrumb it,
yeah,
because I know how I am.
yeah,
So I totally understand.
yeah. So that was number 5. So here's number 6. And I think this is a great way to build connection and interest. Share a playlist, right? You've
Mm.
got so many different ways. I was thinking about this list when well, you and I are the same age. We were younger, used to sit by the cassette
The
player.
mixtapes.
Yeah. And you have your finger on record and play and wait for
Yes.
right when the DJ stopped talking so you can get that right little cue in
Yes.
And you take the tape and you write hearts on it and you give it to her or give it to him and you say, yeah, I thought about you, made it. And they, man, sit there and listen to that cassette and think about you. But also now, it's just a
Or you
great.
got shouted out on the Quiet Storm. Yeah, I want to
Well, you got
dedicate
shout out on
this.
the Firestorm. Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
those little things, like finding their musical interests, have a conversation. Maybe they like jazz. Like I am not a jazz person. I don't like the
I
jazz to go.
love it.
Oh,
Love it.
I like smooth jazz. That I can.
Yes.
It's like dun, 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 dun,
Do
dun.
you listen to Kasemi Washington? He's amazing. He did the soundtrack for Becoming from Michelle Obama and also for the movie
Oh,
Really Love.
okay.
Really good. I love him. He's amazing.
See, and see, knowing someone's interests again, make a playlist. And then those
Yeah.
people who love gospel music, put a playlist together of a praise and worship. Like it'll make. I thought about you. Hope this lifts your day. Boom, drop that in their inbox with a text message.
Yes.
Because you got all kinds of musical apps now. Maybe they're a classical musician. Maybe they got music out there and they want people. I'm put a playlist together. I'm sharing with all my friends. But again, like I said, this is a great way for you all to just share common interests, maybe even have a laugh or two. Like I know the person who knows me will put together the most eclectic playlist. It'll definitely have like some Broadway musical on it, some church music on it. It
Wow.
has some 2000s rap on it. It'll twerking rap. I'm talking about like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys.
The throwback.
Throwbacks, and it has some. It might have some chopped and screwed, and then it might have some Dolly Parton on. Like that's where my ears go from time to
Wow.
time. I'm all over the
Everyone's
place.
different.
Everyone's
So
different, and if someone knows you, and they put that together. It sounds like they really invested in you, okay? And then listen to it because it might be some music that they like that you like. I don't know if I like this. Like I don't know if I could listen to heavy metal.
no.
I found out my best friend, who I love dearly, love him. We've been through everything together, and he listens to this Dave Matthews. Is that his name?
Yeah, I've heard of the name. I don't listen to him, but I'm
Not a fan.
aware.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's
not a
got
fan.
millions of fans, and I'm proud of the brother, and I want him to keep being successful because my best friend like him.
Right.
It's not a concert I would end up at. It's just not for me.
Or what was that? Hootie and the Blowfish? Or yeah, I'll pass.
But hey, at least I know what he likes. So because he's my friend, I love him. I would know what to get him because I care about him.
Right.
That's
Just
the gist
observing.
behind
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Number 7, I think is interesting because now, if you really invested, you'll take the time and find time to do this. Have a conversation with their family and friends, right? Sit down and talk to their sisters and brothers when you're in family functions. That was one of the things on the list somebody said don't do. Don't go to family functions on the first date. I'm not saying on the first date. You should.
Right.
You ain't got to, but meet their family. If they come over, don't run and go hide in the kitchen when they show up. Sit down on the sofa and talk with them. Start up a conversation about basic things. You ain't got to talk about what you and a sibling are doing or what their cousin is doing, but you can just talk about life, like talk about current events, talk about sports, talk about the world around us. But can you strike up a conversation with their family and friends? Because if you're going to be in that person's life, you're going to have to sit quiet and comfortable sometimes around their family. And I know my family, we're not necessarily loud, but we like crowd participation, right? So if you come into our space and you sit off to the corner and you're mousy, we're gonna fold you in sometime, right? And if that's not that person's personality, then you don't want to go through your life 5 years down the road being uncomfortable every time you go to family functions, right? And then the family will give you the information you need on making sure that person that you love or want to be in a relationship is understood. Like, he's sensitive. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's what everybody in my family would tell you if they met me. Right? And so, Sheldon's sensitive. Hey, I am. I cry when I hear little kids sing. I can't help it. It's just something.
That's so cute, though.
So you can't talk to him mean. You got to talk to Sheldon like,
right.
Come here,
but everyone is different, and I think that's cool though. Because sidebar, for me, I don't like the stereotype applied to masculinity, especially for our people, that if you're a Black male, you're this way, and if you're not this way, then things are questionable. And that's not always the case. I just feel like as a people, we are so diverse and we have so many layers. and so many subcultures. I just really hate that. I think that's cool, but you know how I feel about Black men and mental health and whatever. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're such a monolithic culture. I don't understand how people can still put you in a box and say this is how you're supposed to be.
We are anything but that.
Anything but that. So yeah, have a conversation. Talk to their mama. Did they go to Sunday school? Did you have to spank them a lot?
Were they in ISS?
Were they in ISS? Did the school call you often about their behavior? Talk to
me. Do you have anger management? Do you punch walls when you're angry? I need to know the thing.
Talk to them. And my mother, I love her, will tell you. You know, she loves talking to somebody. So if you sit down and have a conversation with her, she'll tell you what kind of Sheldon you're gonna get. And I mean, she raised me the best way she knew how, and I think I turned out okay. Right? I got cousins who are very protective, and they might, test you, but that means that they want to make sure that you're ready for the battle ahead, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting to know their family. I love getting to meet my ex's family. I still talk to some of them, but it does hurt when you have a divorce, when you can't be around that person anymore.
Yeah. So, I've never been married, but I've heard.
Yeah. But it's still nice to know that you have family connection. So I say talk to their family, get to know who they are behind that not facade, but because they're going to put up a good front in front of you.
The representative will show up.
The representative. Yeah. So get you some behind the scenes information, like and now this one I find interesting. My friend has a funny take on it. I'll say that after I explain this one. But number 8 is read a book together and discuss it.
Oh, I like that because I love to read. The nerdy me is loving this one.
Me
Go
too.
ahead.
But it could be anything. I think sharing a book, it could be a murder mystery book, it could be a romance story, it could be a self-help book, it could be books of the Bible, it could be magazine articles at the end of the day, but have that interest beyond the physical, the intellectual stimulation, right? Because I think once that person gets older, in my mind, this is for me, I still see my high school crush as I did when we were the same age. So even right now, when I look at her, I still see it the exact same way. So that might fade with some people if you don't have an intellectual stimulation, right? Mm-hmm. So find a way to build a deeper connection beyond the physical, right?
I love it because that's one of my love languages as far as like intelligence. And I don't like to be in a space where if you're not learning from me, I'm not learning from you, because I need that engagement. I need that intellectual and stimulation, that engagement. And if I'm not in awe of your mind, then everything else is a no-go, because I hate dull conversation. I hate forcing conversation. Mm-hmm. I don't, if I'm always bringing up things and your response is, oh no, or, yeah, I guess it. Maybe. Oh, or that's cool, that's straight. That just, but what are your opinions on it? Like, please. Yeah. So yes, I love that.
And that just, I don't know. It's something about it creates, I think, a deeper connection and a strong attraction when you have that option that you can talk. Now, my friend's funny take on this is she said, forget all that. Just read out loud to me. As long as I know you can read, we okay.
But what about they read and they're following with their finger?
That's me now. Okay. That's my dyslexia. That's one of the tricks that my 8th grade teacher taught me. I have to take a pencil or a pen or my finger and follow along, because my eyes will make the words go around. But at least I read.
At least you read. How about that?
At least I read, But there are some people who say, I don't want to read for fun. I'm not saying read for fun. I'm saying read for us. Read for relationship. Read for
us. Read for
us. Take a few minutes and invest in us. It ain't got to be a lot. Like, read a chapter a day, right? Yeah, just know how to read. Yes, so my friend, she said, just read out loud. I want to hear you read out loud for 2 minutes, right? And she said 2 minutes. I said, why 2 minutes? Because she's a elementary school teacher. And they do like a reading test with the kids, and only got to read for 2 minutes. So you can see how well they can read. I'm sorry, that cracked me up. But no, I think reading a book, fiction, fantasy, fortune book, like if you're trying to build something together, and then have that part, like, think about how I would be so impressed if I'm studying for school and my partner reads with me some of the academic journals that I have to read.
That would be good.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love that. I'm not one of them frat boys who gets the girl to do the work. I know who they are. I'm not gonna name no names, We know the ones that got to get the girls to do the work for them. It's not the noobs. The noobs do the work, right? But
Not us, because we have the highest GPA on the yard. So
they probably asked y'all to do it, but not
and we say no.
Our GPA is honest. We'll say that. But and then so number 9, and for me, because I have so many of them, I would want the person to know because it's only fair. Number 9 is share your pet peeves. What annoys you? Don't sit around someone who aggravates you and you don't know why they're aggravating you because it's not them. Like it might just be their normal habit to do. And because it's your pet peeve and you don't tell them, you're starting to build this animosity towards this person and you've never even said, it makes me crazy when I see blah, like crunching sounds. The campus sweethearts do. Hey, wait a minute. That's still working in the frat. That's what I hear. That sounds like working in the frat. Okay. For the
shots fired. Somebody's choosing violence.
Right.
That's my girl, Adelia.
I know. I love
her.
But share your pet peeves. Like someone who crunches when they chew, right? If someone has a pet peeve to loud crunching noises and they don't know it, and you just crunch, the person,
or just bad table manners, period. Like
share whatever they are, like being loud on the phone in public.
I don't like that because I will say, just me personally, if I feel like we're having a conversation and my earpiece is not working, I'll get on my phone, but it's not on speaker and I'm speaking in a lower tone. So only you can hear me and not hear me across the parking lot. That is one of my pet peeves, are individuals that, especially in the store, you are so loud on the phone and I'll look at you like, are you serious? Or are we so loud in public?
Yeah. You want to know what's one of my pet peeves? And I can't stand it. I do not like when people open up resealable items the wrong way. Like if you take 2 seconds, the package says open here and reseal it back. When someone comes in and just rips it open, like they rip open the end, like really, you didn't see it say resealable? It shows you right here, it'll close back up. And why does that drive me crazy? I don't know. But to me, it seems like the person didn't investigate enough. Like you didn't take a second to think.
That time.
That's what it brings up for me. So it's like you're an impulsive person. You don't think things through. You just ripped into and then you won't even go try to find a Ziploc bag or some type of wrapper to wrap it up so it stay fresh for the next person.
Yeah, I think my main things are rudeness, especially if someone is serving us, whether if it's in an airport or restaurant, in the service industry, and you're rude to them. Mm-hmm. Even when they're rude, you still maintain
some decorum.
Foul language, it makes my ears burn. I'm like, all the words in the dictionary, you just want to use these words. That I don't like smoking. I think it's nasty.
Now, you know what I don't mind? I don't mind cussing, but I hate when you cussing at me. Like if we having an argument.
I don't like it, and don't do it to me. Like I just don't. I'm not a fan of it. Lying. I hate liars. I can't stand you. Just grandma said, if you lie, you'll steal. If you steal, you'll kill. Just
Tell me the truth up front. I mean, I might not like it, but at least I get to have my choice.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
I get it.
Bad hygiene, like bad breath, dirty nails, sagging, these crazy hairstyles. I'm old school. I like a clean cut guy, clean nails. I started back
dirty
walking.
fingernails. Dirty fingernails are definitely a pet peeve. What are you doing?
I don't know. What are you scratching? I don't know what's going on. Right. I was walking today, and I work in the BOA tower, so I was walking around. There were some guys. I don't know where they're from, and one of them, and I'm not shading the look. It's just how it appeared, being very loud and doing a lot of these arm movements and crazy locks all over his head. I'm walking. He's just like, "Oh, gorgeous. How you doing? What's up, Ma?" And I had my AirPods on, but I could hear him. And I just looked at him like, and kept going because
I'm disinterested.
and for so many reasons. But
but say whatever they are. Like if if you're somebody who don't like sleeping with socks on, I don't know, whatever your pet peeves are. Some people have the weirdest pet peeves. I used to date a chick, she did not like me to sleep with socks on. because they feel funny on my feet. So I'm like, man, this is weird.
I guess.
Yeah,
Teach
but
his
I can't. But
own.
see, I can't sleep with my feet being cold. So and that's why we ain't together right now. We had this conversation, and we just ain't a match. It's okay.
The socks did it.
The
Okay.
socks was the breaking point, but we
So
got.
before you break number 10, I want to
Mhm.
do this. I want to make sure that everyone has liked, commented, and shared. Also, a quick announcement. Tune in tomorrow night. I'm having a double feature with Lady Shantae and Cherie Isabel, both from Nashville, Tennessee. Two Black women on the radio in the gospel industry, and radio personalities. Going to be a phenomenal conversation. So I need you all to tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for that conversation of the Speaker Podcast. So with that being said, Dr. Sheldon's going to give his number 10 on these on this list. It's
Yes.
Dr. Sheldon's list of 10
This is
essentials.
Dr. Sheldon's list of 10 started dating to-do lists. This is done with absolutely no research. I have no expertise in this area. Like I said, I'm just someone who's broken a lot of hearts and had his heart broken a lot of times, mostly by sorority girls. So boys, stay away. They are not.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm a sorority girl, and I'm not.
That's what I'm saying, boys. You know how they always warn the girls, don't talk to the Qs. Boys, don't you, when you see them sorors, stroll away. They is coming.
Stroll away.
Run.
Why are you giving us a bad rep?
That's no bad rep. I mean, this in the most beguiling way. When they capture you with their call in them letters, boy, run.
So let me tell you something.
They had you moving her in and out of her dorm.
No. So let me tell you something. I want to shout out my mentor when I was a freshman in college, Dedrick Roberts. He saved my life. I know the Lord sent him to me first or 2 weeks into, it might have been the first week of college. He was like, meet me up at the KUC, which is our student center at Middle Tennessee State University. And he was like, come on, I'm going to take you to lunch. Sat down with me and told me, he was like, you're a nice looking girl. You're a cute girl. He said, but I'm going to tell you something. It's going to save you a whole lot of heartache and a whole lot of tears. And he looked dead in my face. He said, no Greeks, no athletes. And I was like, what? And he said, no Greeks, no athletes. And I was like, got it. It clicked. And I said, okay, got it. So I never dated anybody Greek or played sports, like, athletic like that in college. And I'm so glad I listened to him, because the girls that did, they went through. I was like, ooh wee. So I thank God I never got involved with anybody like seriously football, seriously track, seriously basketball, seriously Greek.
You know what?
No.
That's good advice. Some of us are collectors, some of us are Casanovas, and some of us are. So
now I did fall for somebody on the practice team. Trouble. Nothing but trouble. But yeah, no real athletes and no real Greeks. So thank you, Jesus.
And as a frat boy and a former sweat golfer, I'm hurt by that, but I get it.
Not a golfer. Yes, Tiger Hood.
Let's go. That's my line name. Did I tell you that?
Tiger Hood.
Tiger Hood. That's my line name.
I didn't know that. Wow.
My number is 18. And 18 is the final hole on a golf course. So I was like, yes, sir. Loved it. Yeah, and that's why my name is Tiger Hood. I was only new on the line that was on the golf team. But anyway.
Wow.
Number 10. People are who they are. Maya Angelou used to famously say, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. So notice the red flags and believe them, right? A person screaming and yelling in traffic. And there you go. That's a good line name right there.
Collectors. Until you don't encourage him.
I like it. You DM me, girl. We're going to talk on the side.
No, you're not talking. No, my friend is not talking to my friend. You can't talk to her, and you can't talk to him. So that's dead.
Yeah.
That's
so
dead.
Believe the red flags, right? If he or she is screaming in traffic, if they don't pay bills and they think, oh, I got it next time around, but they got it now and it ain't being paid right then and there, red flag, right? If they mama call and they keep ignoring the phone call, when they mama call, red flag. Red flag. Who don't want to talk to their mama? Even if your mama mean you just want to make sure she alive or she okay, but red flag. So no, don't let. It's not. I'm not saying intuition. They'll lash out. They'll have these attitudes, they'll portray these behaviors, right? And you'll think, when you think, that's your red flag. That's these actions that they are coming up with that are irrational, that they can't justify, and it's causing you to take pause. Pay attention. Don't let the red flags just wave and go back down. Pay attention.
Or
Because
don't
it's
walk a red flag down to a green because you're so enamored by the packaging.
oh, but if he let me give him another chance to scream, yell, holler, throw, break. They, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Yeah, they walk into the space. Most people walk into the space being either their authentic self or they come in with a facade. Either way, that's who they're going to be. If they bring that facade, that's who they're going to be. If they bring their authentic self, that's who they'll be. Now,
That's
wait a minute. Some of
good.
these mamas are walking trauma. Yeah,
That's good. That's a really good point, Adelia.
right.
Yeah, I really feel that just this whole restaurant list that came out within the last week, it's crazy. I
Yeah,
did see some things on there, however, that I did agree with, and I made the comment online. Some of those things I did agree with because it's based on lifestyle. Because one was like a nightclub, bar, hookah lounge. And I was like, I agree with that because that's not a part of my lifestyle. I'm not a smoker, I'm not a club person. So for a first date, that's not somewhere I would want to go, you know?
yeah. And
So,
for the most part, these lists really boil down to individual preferences. So that's why you have to, whomever you're dating or going to date, talk to them.
yeah,
Have the bottom line is that you should have a clear conversation with someone you're setting out to spend an hour of your time with. If it's just an hour and I got to coordinate, let's say I'm a single dad and I got to coordinate, coverage or childcare for my kid. If I'm going to take my time to sit down and be with you, I at least want to know before I get there that I'm going to have fun, that it's going to be interesting, it's going to be worth my time. I'm not going to leave, even if I don't have kids. I'm not going to put down anything that I'm doing and just give you an hour to waste. So let's put a little more energy into setting up some intention. The word that is driving me crazy, that's the buzzword in education right now, is intentionality.
that's I've heard that everywhere, even in the world of being a creative and
Yeah,
podcasting, and even in dating, that's a buzzword or overkill, just like
but it
triggering
is.
trauma. But yeah, and being intentional, that is a
Yeah,
very
it's
used
nothing wrong
term a
with
lot.
that. You're getting ready to invest time in this person to see if you want to spend a moment. Time is, yeah, a moment or moments with this person. And if you all can't come into a space with clear understanding, like who's gonna pick up the check at the end of the date, then that if you can't even have that conversation up front, my word, you know. So this is, like I said, this list is, nobody asked me for this list, right? My cousins and I have been on debates. We've been on chat, text thread rather, talking about it. Talk with some coworkers about it, just for fun, right? Because we're just thinking, what's a healthier way to have these conversations? Those anti lists, I didn't think were healthy. I think they cause more friction because a couple of those things on there were, in my opinion, a little offensive. And that was not my intent. My intention is to always like lift people up. And I think
Yeah.
my list. Why I say it doesn't come with any expertise, just from my personal experience as a heartbreaker and having my heart broke. Going forward, this is how I'd like to operate. And if it helps somebody else, I'd share it with them too.
Yeah, I think it's also important as far as in those conversations. For example, like I mentioned earlier, my thing is just sitting down having a conversation before we get to the first official date and just listening to verbal cues and body language. And sometimes not well, yes, listen to the answer when you ask questions, but how they answer the question, and also listen to the information that was not provided in the answer. Because
Mhm.
sometimes it's not always what a person says, but what they also leave out.
Yeah, and then whatever you have to discover, I want that. I want you to tell me up front, please.
So yeah, I think that's good. And I've been on a couple days, not recently, but I had a lunch date during the pandemic, and we sat down and had a light lunch or whatever, and the entire time, um, that discernment just
Kept looking
it was a
up.
lot of it was like a pinball machine was going off, and it was like "Tut, tut, 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 tut," and I was just listening to the person, and even though he was a very handsome guy, whatever, um, that other voice was like, "Girl, I don't know," because he was like, "Oh, I just really like talking to you," and I will. This was like early in the day. He was like, "Well, I've got to take care of some things, but I would love to continue this," and he wanted to continue the date and have dinner, and I thought that's a lot for someone, you know, just meeting, and a lot of the conversation, it was him talking, and I was just like, "Oh wow, yeah, really?" But I was listening to what he was saying, and the military side of me was like, "Girl, run the background." And so he was like, "I'm in business or whatever, whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, do you have a card?" And so first like he gave me the business card, not a lot of information on there, very generic business. And I was like, okay. But I was smart enough, because in the Navy, we would find people that didn't want to be found. So I put my skills to work. And based off the little piece of information that he gave me, he provided, I was running him on federal, state, and local offender registries. And when I say ooh-wee,
Oh me.
and I tell ladies, run, I don't care if all you have is a name and address, let's run it. And so I ran him here, I ran him in another state. And when I ran him in the other state, ooh-wee. And
Oh,
things were just coming up. And then I ran his name just in Google just to see, well, has he ever had, ooh-wee, more things coming up. And so needless to say, I blocked and deleted his number. Um he was attempting to get on my social media. I blocked that, and then he tried to create another page and get on. Yeah, it was a trip just off one lunch and me getting that one small business card and just running the information. I was like, Lord have mercy.
that's the goal, right? Do your homework or do your work so you don't
Yeah.
waste your time,
Do
right?
your due diligence.
Do your
Like,
due diligence, and it's
you know,
especially if you want to spend a lifetime with someone, even if it is the background check first or run through the lists, like getting to know them, their family, if it's do the work. It's not, I love Disney movies, but it's not that way. You're not going to go on a romantic, on a fantastic adventure, and at the end of it, y'all going to be in love. I mean, but it
yeah, we're
can be.
not gonna break out in song.
It,
That's not
yeah,
gonna
it
happen.
can be that it can be that if you
With the
work.
right person, yes.
Yeah, it
But
can be that, but it's not
yeah.
going to happen just magically out of the blue. Like you got to put the work in. So,
So I do want to add on Dr. Sheldon with this whole list situation.
mhm.
I think it's unfair. I'm going to speak on the ladies' end. Please feel free to chime in for the gentlemen.
Sure.
But me personally, I feel that it's unfair to men for women to make all these crazy lists and make these demands, and you're not half of what you're demanding.
Ooh,
Like, rip up the list and take that list and turn it around on yourself. Are you half of those things? Are you even achieving to strive towards that? And you're always screaming about your dream guy, your dream man. But sis, are you the dream girl?
mm,
And so if you can't go through that list and check off those things for yourself, you need to make sure that you are the dream woman. And if you're not, you need to work towards that.
yeah,
And I would say in the last 5 years, I've taken more time to do more work on myself, because when I started doing the work, I was like, oh, okay, Camille, you need to work on this. Because if you want to be married one day, this about you is not ideal. Not even to the other person, but for me, meaning certain mindsets about things, perspectives on things, and just wanting to be an asset, not a liability, and to be a blessing. Because I just think it's so selfish and unfair to feel like, women, you have to get with someone that's aligning with your purpose. Well, guess what, sis? He has purpose on his life too. He has
yeah,
a call on his life too. So don't make it so much about, yes, aligning with your purpose, but make sure that what you have going on is complementing his thing. Because what if he's a man, he's already on a certain tier of life? Is your mentality, are you mentally strong enough to sustain in his world?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to be in a space and you're questioning every woman that comes to his path because you haven't dealt with your insecurities.
Yeah. Two things you said right there, and this is for both, especially for me. The best relationship advice I got is scripture. It is to be equally yoked.
Yes.
Right? To have someone, and when the analogy that I always think about when I get in the Bible, like two oxen pushing or pulling on something, and when they're both strong and they're equally matched, like if I wouldn't put a weaker looking oxen on there, they need to be yoked at the same level so this heavy barge behind them can be moved, right? And if one is weaker, it shouldn't be I pick you up. So you also said something I love, which I teach my children, is that relationships should be complementary, not compromise. I should not say
Or competing. Or
or
competing.
competing, absolutely. But you know the whole mindset of what is it? You can't pour from an empty cup, right? So
Right.
let me fill my cup up and then pour it over onto you. That's not it. What should be either. My overflow. I should have so much coming into my cup that it's overflowing and it's blessing you. It's spilling into your cup. It's filling your cup up because mine is still overflowing. Not me stop getting my blessing, stop my shine, stop my grind, stop my rise, so you can feel good about yourself. And then I give to you. It's complimentary. I see you going to school, earning advanced degrees. I'm your biggest cheerleader. Yeah, baby, I'm so proud of you. And because I see you doing it, I'm not looking at you thinking she gonna leave me one day. I'm looking at her thinking, I want to get me a degree too. My baby smart. We're gonna be college educated. We're gonna have a legacy. Complimentary, not compromise. Not, oh, you go to school now and I'll take on all the bills, right? And while you getting your degree so you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm still working and making minimum wage. But I'm gonna compromise my shine, my growth, my development, promotion, and success. So you can. It shouldn't be that way. It should that's not, to me, that's not a happy, healthy relationship, right? I know I saw a video that was about an older gentleman talking about his wife. They were married like 40 some years. He was in his senior years. He talked about how he did all the work as far as paying, out in the how out the house, making a living for the families, and she took care of the household. That's a conversation to have. And in that generation, that era, it worked out perfectly for them that he would go and work and make the money, and she would stay home and manage the home and the children. Right now, if that works for you, that dynamic works for you.
Yeah, I think it's based on what works for your
It works for
household and
you.
what works for you
And
in
then you have
your
some
home.
people who say everybody's going to go out and work, and we're going to bring those resources back together. And we're going to share the balance in the house because that works. It's basically about what complements your life.
Yeah,
We
but you have a lot of women out here screaming soft life, but they're not working towards anything.
right.
And I don't think that's
I don't
fair
blame you. I
because
want a sugar. I want a sugar mama or a sugar dad too. I want somebody to come scoop me up, but that ain't how it's working, baby. Like
yeah,
it comes for regular people first.
yeah, I just think we should have more realistic conversation
Yeah.
as far as expectations in relationships. And I think you have a very healthy list as far as what your tens are on that. I would love to hear from those that are watching or listening, if not now, even later on, as far as what you think about Dr. Sheldon's list. Before we wrap everything up, do you have any gems or nuggets or takeaways that the listeners and viewers can kind of think about until you come back? And then also where people can find you on social media, just because anytime I bring you on, the conversation is always really good, very intriguing, and you bring a lot of insight. So what do you have for us this time?
Well, since we're talking about relationships, if you're in a relationship, I'll give you just one piece of advice that one of my favorite uncles gave me, and it's fitting because his name was Honey. We called him Honey. He said, no matter what it is, no matter what's going on, if you're having trouble, this is the best advice I ever got. If you're in a relationship and you and your boo are on the outs, this is the best thing to do. Be sweet. Be sweet. Go buy their favorite ice cream, play them a soft song. Be sweet. Rub their feet. Be sweet. And if you bend, and soften, they'll bend and soften a little bit. And it's not compromise. It's showing adornment and affection to the person you like. So if you're fighting with your boo right now, if y'all had a spat and y'all on the outskirts, whichever one of y'all, him or her, he or he, she or she, go to them right now and just be sweet. That's my last little piece of advice. Oh, you can find me on social media at Dr. Sheldon C. McAfee on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can find me at McAfee_DR. But I love having dialogue about, pretty much anything. Although my bailiwick is education, leadership, and children's literature, I'm an eclectic guy. I can talk about pretty much anything.
Yeah, you're pretty bright. I like that. So that being said, everyone, I hope that I hope you got something from this conversation. This is Camille Essick, host of the Speaker Podcast. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essick, on YouTube at Camille Essick Official, and on Facebook at the Speaker Podcast. Just as a reminder, the TSP Premium is available right now for $3 a month, starting at $3 a month. This is a limit introductory price. It will go up later, so you might want to hop on this now. I'm just saying. And be sure to follow us here tomorrow night. We're going to be back at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Cherie Isabel and Lady Shantae. Really good conversation coming up. Yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Be blessed. Hold on, Dr. Sheldon. Good night, guys. Bye. Thank you again. I really appreciated you stopping by. It was really good.
Oh, I enjoy being here. This is always a great platform. And you have said it's so easy to talk to. It's like just talking to family. So.
Oh, thank you.
It's like I've been on an hour-long phone call with my auntie, her cousin or sister.
Lord have mercy. Thank you. Good night, y'all. Bye.